Good evening, everybody. We made it. Another action-packed TCM Classic Film Festival. I trust everyone had a sensational time. On behalf of everybody at TCM, I have to apologize about Eddie. I'm sorry. He is who he is, you know. It's been a fabulous festival for me, specifically. I mean, from opening night here with George Lucas, and you know, I'm not entirely sure what that was, but I know that it was. I think it was really good. It ended up like being something special. I really enjoyed it. Thanks to George for turning out to that, and for The Empire Strikes Back. My goodness, I had Jaws. Egyptian, turning people away, a British print, a BFI print, thanks to our partnership with BFI too, a British print of Jaws, and Lorraine Gary was there, and you know, she played Brody's wife, and you know, you do these interviews and you don't know what you're gonna get, and I'm like, I don't remember how it came up. I'm like, how was it working with Richard Dreyfuss? I didn't care for it. A little bit of a reset, come back a couple minutes later. But of course, she did most of your scenes with Roy Scheider. She was like, yeah, not a good guy. But she was super into Robert Shaw. She was great. And I like whatever. People, not everybody has to be best friends, but I love the candor. Keir Delay for 2001. That guy was amazing, and it turns out we share a particular love of Paths of Glory, and Stanley Kubrick changed his life, and he was just so grateful and such a great storyteller. So many great things. Michelle Pfeiffer, Hannah Footbridge there. So it's been a sensational festival, and of course it's nothing without you. You're why we do this, and thank you guys for being so supportive through good years and bad. We can always count on you, so thank you very much. Before we get to tonight's screening, I'd like to acknowledge the people who made this show. One more thing. The TCM Festival, there were two women who I met they were getting their badges, and maybe they're here tonight. I don't know, but they had an Eric Blower T-shirt. Like, where else in the world are people going to have an Eric Blower T-shirt? It was Edward Horton and Eric Blower. That's why this is a special place. Okay, I got to begin to acknowledge the people who make this festival possible. You heard from the primary person just moments ago, the festival's executive director, Genevieve McGilligan. Also, a round of applause for our outstanding festival director, Mark Wins, and managing director, Lindsay Griffin. That's the triumph. Also, 3 cheers for our programming team led by Charlie Tavish, and all these guests that we talked about that I didn't mention, how great James Cromwell was. He came back today for another screening. Shannon Cottage, she was the best. He was almost doing that. The incredible, dedicated, talented team that brought all these people in. Missy Burns-Gordon, Susan Esack, Dory Stegman, Randy Austin, and Nicole Hill. They worked tirelessly to make sure you guys have one special event after another to enjoy here at the festival. And I need to send a special thanks to Liz Winter, who's like TCM indispensable. She's our utility infielder, and we would largely be lost without her. On behalf of everybody here, I hope you have a blast, and you'll join us here next year for the 2026 TCM Classic. And I look forward to seeing as many of you as possible on the boat, TCM Cruise in October. Now, On this final night of the 16th Festival, we're excited to bring you an epic story of cops and robbers, a drama celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. What makes it an epic? Well, for one thing, it brought about the long-awaited on-screen face-off between two of the finest actors of any generation, Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. And did they deliver. It also features an incredible supporting cast that it seems unfair if I don't mention almost all of them, so I will speak quickly here because casting this movie is part of the reason why it's great. I'll begin with the late, great Val Kilmer. Also Jon Voight, Tom Sizemore, Amy Brennaman, Judd, Natalie Portman, Michael Williamson, Wes Studi, Ted Green, Dennis Haysbert, William Fichtner, Angus Area, Kevin Gage, man, who scared us all as Wayne Grow. It's a riveting story, unforgettable shot selection, perfect pacing, relentless as the characters, and that all goes, credit for that goes to writer-director Michael Mann. So, let's welcome Michael Mann to the stage. Al Pacino. It was coming, I swear. So, I think many people thought that you and Robert De Niro had already been in a movie together. And of course you were in the same movie, but you had never been in a scene together. So, first of all, Michael, you and as producer Art Linson were discussing and thought that the right guys for this are Pacino and De Niro. Is that right? Yeah. Yes. And so, how do you go about it? Did you know them enough to call them and say, hey, be in my fifth movie?
Al and I know each other. Jimmy Kahn introduced us.
I saw the great movie made called Thief.
Yeah, with James Caan. That was your first movie?
Right, but I didn't, so I knew Al and I talked to Al and, we got together on this and then Bob, Val came into it and we, it's ironic because I almost didn't make this film. It was a moment in time in which I thought I was going to produce it and have somebody else direct it. And then my producer talked me out of it, said, you're out of your mind, you've got to do it, and then who should be in it? We were at the Broadway Deli, which was used in the scene when De Niro goes and meets Amy Brennaman. And he said, you gotta do it, and we started talking about who will be in the cast, and it was Al and Bob, and off we went.
So, Al, you knew you hadn't been in a movie with Robert De Niro. I'm guessing that wasn't a surprise to you. But what was that experience like? Let me ask you this, do you have any sense of either of you guys, of what you mean to people like us, that putting you two guys in a scene together was going to matter to people who love movies?
No. I know because I met Bob in 1968 in Manhattan, and I just had a brush it with him. It was nice, and I saw that he had just about it, kind of magnetism and everything. And then I got to know him, of course, throughout the years, 20 years, so I knew him pretty well before we did the film. I didn't have think of it, I mean, because we were talking all the time, I didn't think it was very special that we were doing it. But apparently it was. I have to say, that's my, it's not modesty talking to you, it's just, I'm so damn dumb. I sometimes just get carried away in other things, and I hope I don't do that tonight. But yeah, so I did know he's an actor, he's a great actor, really great. And he did something, I think that was, I don't know if you mastered it, Mike, but he said, let's not rehearse.
Well, we did. I never, I believe in very rigorous preparation, but you never ever take anything to that moment where you wish you'd have shot it. So then you're talking about a scene, you're talking about character, you're doing a lot of work, which we all did, on understanding who these characters were, and Al and Bob and Val and everybody acquiring the skills that these characters would have had in real life. But then rehearsals are very delicate. You never take something, and then particularly this pivotal scene, which is the nexus of the whole movie, you would never actually rehearse it. We talked about it in paraphrase, but we were all of the same mind.
I wasn't. No, I wasn't. You know, I usually rehearse, you know. I don't know why. So when he said it to me, I'm sure you must have made me cautious of it. We can't remember these things. But I must say, when Bob said it to me, I thought this is a great idea, you know, not to rehearse. But you know, you gotta know your words. Oh, isn't it? So we knew our words. Surprisingly, it was a beautifully written scene, I like. And then we just got there. For some reason, it was the right thing to do, the not knowing what we were going to say. So I really.
You guys are also, both of you, are masters of cadence. I mean, Mike writes the script, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't tell you how long to pause, where to dart your eyes, right? You know, that's you and Bob having created these characters.
Well, no, he usually shoots about 48 takes. You know, he'll know when we get it. No, I mean, yeah, he does.
Gail was always great on take 5, 6, 7, or 8. Might have had some. And when we would get done, you know, and it would be great, might have it, I maybe have some variations on it, and then sometimes Al would say, can I do a free one? I said, sure. But the free one is basically being unplugged, which is Al being unplugged. And so then nobody knows what exactly is going to happen in those sections. Pretty else, so we had a couple of scenes in the movie that are pretty riotous, which is the product of that.
Yeah.
We had one actor who came in about 2/3 of the way through and wasn't aware that we did this, and then kind of came as a surprise. But
Bob is so sometimes undistinguishable. You know, you see him in the street or restaurant. He doesn't look like Robert De Niro. I never recognize him. Come over here, Al. That's funny. He looks like so many people sometimes because he plays so, you know what I mean? Maybe I do too. I don't know. Maybe actors do in general. No?
So, Mike, did you have look, I don't know, this is such a guy running the interview question, but you knew these guys, you know this as you're sitting there with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and you know they've never done a scene together, and here you are, you wrote it, and you're directing it. Was there was there extra quiet on the set? Was there a sense there that this was something really cool?
No, not at all, because at that point we had a very thorough pre-production. We had been shooting for 5 to 6 weeks. When I schedule a film, I work very hard on scheduling. I take a scene like that that's terribly important, and I usually put it in the middle of the schedule, because when you're making a film, everybody gets better at making that film as you're making it. So you never do something like that first, you would never do it at the end. So it was very carefully orchestrated about where, where in the schedule it would land. And by that point, even in pre-production when we were talking about these rehearsals, we were concerned about our characters, about Neil McCauley, Vincent Hanna, and the significance of them coming together. So nobody's thinking outside the context of the story and the film and these characters and this collision, which is carefully brought together by all the events that preceded, which you're about to see. And it's a very complex scene, and I can't imagine anybody else doing this except Al and Bob and pulling it off. These two men truly are antithetical to each other. They have some components of their personalities that are totally psychic, that are totally opposite each other, and two that are exactly the same. They're the only two people in the film who are totally self-aware. There's no self-deception. They are aware of themselves. They sometimes stimulate themselves in certain ways to be sharp, to be on the edge, Hannah's character. And then also with Neil McCauley, Bob's character. And so, it really is a fairly careful moment. And that's why I picked Cape Mann Laney's, because it was a black and white interior. I wanted nothing to intrude in what these two actors were going to do.
I mean, for a guy who thought he knew a lot about that scene, it turns out I didn't know a lot about that scene. Cape Mann Laney's, how many people here know Cape Mann Laney's? It was a wonderful restaurant on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles for a very long time. Closed, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And that's where the scene was shot. So the fact that it provided sort of that sterile environment, a little slick, but somehow.
Sorry, did who provide this?
Say again?
I didn't hear what you said.
I said choosing that environment, the black and white nature of Cape Mann Laney's. You didn't want it to be any place flashy.
I wanted it to be so that these two human beings, that all of your attention is focused on what's going on, because when Bob shifted like this, which made put his hand closer to where he probably had a concealed weapon, right in the middle of dialogue, you would see Al do some other move that was counter, and there was a kind of organic unity to the text. So I wanted to capture their work simultaneously, meaning there's organic unity to take 10 that was different than take 11 and different than take 12. So that's why I was using 3 cameras, and most of the scene is take 11.
Most of it's take 11 with little sprinklings from other takes, but most of it's take 11. Wow. What do you recall of shooting that, Al? Do you know that? Yeah.
Well, I was relatively at ease. I thought, that's the setting. I knew I thought it was a great crew. You just felt comfortable doing it. And I think that's what the directors do. They set the ambience so that you feel that this is what we're doing. You feel comfortable with that. It's almost like, I use the old story. I like to use this story all the time about a tightrope walker. And we all are, in a sense. But that applies more for the theater, stage acting, because in movie acting, you can just say, I wasn't right there. Can I start that thing again? Like here after I thought I entered with a little bit of, I should have entered like this. I'm sorry.
Want to do it again?
May I go back there? No, I feel that's what it is, and with a film and guys like Michael, great directors, you feel you have a net on you. You're protected by their intelligence, their wisdom, their imagination, and so that's very good to work with in that environment because you can trust them, so to speak. So So you hold yourself back. And in this one, I could see it, you'll see it. Of course, my character is intense. And also, he's known to, do a sniff now and then. and we had actually a scene in the film where, my guy takes a toke, once or something. It's not in the film anymore.
Is that right? It's not in the film anymore?
No. That happens. Things get mixed around, of course. So it all that it did is it may explain some of my reactions.
No, I got it.
But at the same time, it's very interesting. It was a choice that I had made. We had talked about it. But it was planned. I did a film where a guy sniffs a lot, believe me. And that was got right before Pete. So I got that out of my system.
But I mean, I think it's I'm just going to get into one thing that I just personally want to talk about. I don't know that it's going to be as interesting to everybody else. That's a revealing moment when Hannah does a little, because you obviously you're a human being, you're going to get tired, but it's like you're in the middle of this run, you can't let yourself get tired, you won't let yourself slow down. So that's to me why he does it. I think it's very revealing and in character.
Yes.
And it also gets to a little bit of what is clearly a Michael Mann skill, which is like Elmore Leonard's novels. You know how to do bad guys. Like, your villains are interesting and rounded and intriguing, and sometimes they're the most interesting characters. That means, I think you think of De Niro, and you think of most of that gang, and you think of James Caan in Thief. Like, these are guys you want to know more about. Where do you think that comes from? Like, you like writing these guys?
It comes from process. First of all, I don't think any other director knows how any other director directs films. We're on a set with another director, we have no idea. So every director and writer, in a way, has his own process. And for me, the idea that I respond to are usually sparked by coming into contact with somebody who may be, say, John Santucci, who's the thief that Thief is based on. And there's an event that happened that's, there's a foundation of heat. And so then that kind of provokes, and this would be great, is that it provokes a quest. And then you invent a character, and then you put the ideas of combining these two characters, and then you go on a further quest and get yourself into, next to people who really do this. And that becomes a very rich experience, and also the milieu in which it's happening. So you get as close to the reality of it. I've never been interested in moving from something that's already existed in cinema or drama, but real people. So Charlie Adamson, who was an old friend,
De Niro's character named Neil McCauley, based on a real criminal named Neil McCauley.
And they've been chasing each other, and they both became aware that McCauley, the De Niro character in real life, became aware that Charlie Anderson was pursuing him, and Charlie Anderson knew that he knew when they bumped into each other in the parking lot, and they almost went for weapons, but then Anderson said, "Let me buy you a cup of coffee." And the perception of Charlie's his thief was kind of illuminating for me, in that he had great respect for him. He liked him personally, and as he said, he'd blow him out of the sock without thinking twice about it. So that became not a contradiction, it became both a truth. And that duality is there in the kind of genome of the making of film.
Well, you managed to, not just for Al here and for De Niro, Godfather's character, the two primary propulsive forces of this film. Almost every character in this movie has something more than just a little backstory. Like there is, I don't know, I feel like I know more about characters in this movie than almost any cop movie I have ever seen. And I think that's a tribute to the really outstanding cast that I named there at the top. I take it a lot of thought went into not just Alan and Robert De Niro, but the whole cast.
Yeah, to me that's the work, is to get as close to the, what's interesting about people. The first thing you learn is that everybody, regardless of who they are, whether they're a convict and Folsom president, or they're a hunter and searcher like Vincent Hanna, everybody has a mother, a brother, a father, a sister. They have concerns. They're either a White Sox fan or a Cubs fan. All dimensionality in your life is fascinating to all of us to do this kind of work. And so to get yourself on a feeling and a psychological basis, on a conscious basis, as immersed as you can into that real emotional human reality, that to me is what, the adventure of this, that's what it's all about.
Al, so I'm going to take it that this film has I guess it's the greatest shootout ever on film. I think it's fair to say. It's a stunning sequence. You hadn't done anything quite like that before, right? I mean, you've done some action scenes, but this was prolonged. I mean, we were just talking backstage. This was like, this is like the beginning to Saving Private Ryan, but on the streets of Los Angeles.
Like you should see Scarface. No, not really. I was in a tube when I was up there shooting all over my ass off, all those people, all those guys, and I was in this thing. I had to do mantras and everything. And folks up in there. At least we were outside with this. But the choreography.
So I'm going to interrupt you and let you continue, because that's what we used, the word that I was going to use was that different from Scarface, which is a legendary scene, is that this was like a lot more people involved and more shots and focus keeps shifting.
Oh yeah, and you knew that. He so staged it, it's like, and it was no getting out of it. He wasn't difficult to do because of the way he staged it. Because you knew where you were going, you knew where you were holding your hand, and you knew what you could do and couldn't do with it when you had to go around the corner. And I was sort of in shape to do it right then. I mean, but it was the group, so to speak. It was like one of those big scenes where everybody's in. And who knew? I thought it was going to be a gunfight, but it was masterfully choreographed. And I think that helped a lot. When I see it, it's like, wow. And then there was a robbery that took place. Remember one that took place?
Right, North like bank robbery.
Well,
Two years later in North Hollywood,
yeah, I don't think but apparently it did. In fact, these guys in some way,
Yeah,
because they said, the newscaster said, these guys are from Heat.
Yeah.
And they were really doing the thing. I didn't do anything.
There were, as I pointed out, there were bank robberies before Heat, and there were bank robberies after. Yeah.
Except in the next Michael Mann film.
I got two questions.
The bank holiday, blow into the prison. I see enemies 40 times. I love Johnny Depp, and I love Michael. That was the Dillinger. I have not seen what they did together.
Michael Mann films are events.
I think they're pretty good
events. Yeah. So real quick, I gotta So,
Are we going to?
So I got two things. One, who hasn't seen, there's a lot of folks who have not seen this movie. It's amazing every time.
I'm upset by that, guys.
So, first of all, you're promoting the movie. Tell me, you wanted to tell us what happened in Paris.
Oh God, should I tell the Paris story? Well, we're in Paris, and we were doing public relations, whatever. You're talking about the film.
Promoting, yeah.
So we're there in Paris. It's great. I love Paris, and I was there. We were going around. It was wonderful. I knew had a few friends there, so it was really wonderful. And I went on the show, and I thought it was. I thought it was like this right now. I thought I'm just gonna, go on there and talk about heat.
With somebody who hasn't seen Scarface. Right.
Or someone who didn't hear the high wire joke. Low wire instincts. Pull it out. I'm not going to. Complete waste of your time. But this one was, I went on the French. So the guy who's the MC of it, oh my God, he's so amazing personality. What am I going to do? I don't understand what he's saying. This should be the odds. Pardon my French accent. And so I don't know what to do, and I mesmerize by it. So we sit down, and I give you one of those ear things. Don't use it if they ever do it. That doesn't work. And so I'm there, and I'm sitting at the table, and I'm so taken with this guy. He's got such enthusiasm. And I'm sitting there. Now I'm getting a little nervous, but he starts talking to me in French again. And he asked me a question. And he said, and I'm so taken. Look at this other thing. And I don't hear if it's translated. I hear it. So I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. And just went on, and he took over. Because we were freaking out. I mean, it was fine. And finally, he got in there. Mike knew how to do it. He got me. I'm sitting there shaking. He couldn't go. That's the stuff.
Is this 200-mile-an-hour string of French, and we both had earpieces in with the translator, and the translator spoke like this. He said, the slowest translator in the whole of France.
I haven't lived here through one of those.
This is a thrill. I want to thank you guys. I want to tell you all, and those who've seen the movie are going to love it even more, seeing it in this big packed house and an audience. Those who haven't seen it are going to be dazzled by it. For all of you who haven't been smart enough to purchase Heat 2, which is a novel written by Michael Mann and Meg Brother. I watched the first day it came out. I watched the movie that weekend. It arrived on Tuesday, so it'll be fresh in your mind. Read Heat 2. It is a prequel and a sequel, and it is soon to be, at some point, a motion picture. Yes? And it's a great story, and a great read, and it's thrilling. So, and you get more on Al's character, Vincent Hanna, more on Neil McCauley, also more on Chris, Val Kilmer's character. It's an amazing book. The movie is as good as it gets. We're thrilled to have Michael Mann and Al Pacino here. Thank you.